Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Solo, and today the Surge 2 has finally released. I'm going to be giving you a quick rundown of the 10 different things you need to know before you jump in yourself. Whether you've played the original or maybe you're new to the series entirely, there's a lot of mechanics to either refresh yourself on or straight up learn. A quick thanks to Focus Home Interactive, we were able to play the game a couple days early thanks to a copy they sent us. Let's get started with number 1. Before you get in game, you're now going to be able to create your own character unlike the original, which is very much appreciated, but what's notable here is that the clothing set that you choose will actually stick through your entire playthrough. You definitely want to consider what you're going to be wearing here because it's going to be visible for a majority of the armor sets you're going to find in the game, and that might annoy you later down the line. A lot of armor sets don't completely cover you up, especially the light fast armor types. So it's just something to keep in mind when you do make your character. Speaking of armor, number 2 is a bit more mechanically relevant. In the Surge series, if you see it, you can take it and then use it yourself. It's always been one of the best features of the series, and the limit to it is super forgiving, letting you run light or heavy sets at a whim compared to, let's say, requiring certain stats first. It's more universal. To take that dude's weapon, for example, you'll need to specifically target their arms holding said weapon, and then finish them off with an execute. Each execute will cost 1 battery, but we'll get into that later, but it's a 100% drop rate from there. Any weapon you see, you can take right away. And that goes for armor too. If you want that helmet, for example, just target the head and then execute. Each armor piece you steal will then unlock that piece's blueprint, allowing you to then craft it at the rig stations around the map with the right materials. Collecting the materials is just as simple. Keep targeting that helmet piece to collect more parts for that said helmet, and then when you've got enough, spend your tech scraps, aka souls, and those materials you've collected to make it. Upgrading weapons will work the same way. You just keep hunting down that weapon type for more parts to then use for upgrades. Remember though, armor sets do have set bonuses, so you can mix and match however you like, but a full set will reward unique passive bonuses, and plus, sure does look cool when you got a full set. For number 3, the horizontal and vertical attack types do return. You're able to strike in specifically a horizontal or vertical fashion, and you can mix and match these attack types for different powerful combos for big damage or big CC chains. Depending on which part of the enemy you're attacking, you should consider what attack type you want to use to effectively attack that part. And you should be warned as well that these combo strings can backfire if you throw them out too easily without thinking. Some of them can be quite lengthy and lock your character on a big chain of attacks, which will leave you vulnerable since you're not able to dodge away during them. While you're at it though, make sure to get good use out of the charged or heavy versions of these horizontal or vertical strikes. By holding down the attack type, you'll charge up a stronger hit, doing more impact damage to stun an enemy, but more importantly, doing armor piercing damage too. These types of attacks will allow you to break shields or crack into armor for more damage and strip armor away. Number 4 is all about those batteries. The battery energy system allows you to instantly execute enemies you've loosened up first with attacks, finishing them off when they're lower health. Each execute consumes 1 of your original 3 batteries, and it'll lock you into an iframe window while you do this animation. You can actually make use of this pretty well in combat, executing an enemy to avoid damage from multiple enemies while you're instantly killing that target. But remember, the battery energy is also your source of healing. Using different implants, you can consume batteries to instantly heal a chunk of health or restore an even bigger chunk of health over time. So make sure you know why you're spending your next battery, because you might need it to heal instead of hitting that execute, but not to worry. Battery energy is built up by attacking or picking up the blue battery cells from the floor, often dropped by enemies. In that way, you can infinitely heal if you keep building up battery energy through attacks. For our 5th thing you need to know, we're talking about the fantastic new double duty weapons that are in game. These weapons function almost like the trip weapons from Bloodborne or the double weapon types in Monster Hunter. With a double duty weapon, you can attack slowly by pausing between each button press, and you'll two-hand the weapon for powerful high impact hits, which are great for stun locking enemies or wide swinging to a group of enemies. Or you could alternatively attack very quickly by spam swinging to swap the duty weapon to 2 parts, effectively dual wielding for super fast light attacks, which are very strong against lighter armor enemy types too. Visually, these weapons do look great, but the utility in the gameplay is what's really awesome here. Number 6 is all about the new parry system. Slightly altered from the original version, we're still going to be holding block and then timing a direction movement into that incoming attack, but we're not going to be locked on the spot trying to jump up and down anymore. Very early in the game, you're going to be given an implant which allows you to see the direction of the incoming attack. And then while blocking, you just lean or move into it to do the parry at the right time. This will stun the enemy and give you a big critical attack. The system feels a little bit more forgiving than the original and definitely less clunky to attempt. You don't actually need that implant to pull these off either. With practice, you'll probably know which kind of attack is coming and from where, and then you'll know how to deal with it. But if you're actually playing with heavy weapons, then I strongly recommend you hold on to this parry implant and make good use of it for big parry damage. Need to know number 7 tackles the exosuit power consumption. Each time you level up, you'll increase your power cap. And that cap decides how much gear you can actually equip at one time. What armor, weapons, and what implants you have equipped all impact your power cap. Some gear can actually increase your power cap as well, like this implant here, giving me 5 extra power. Lighter armor will also take less power compared to heavy armor, and at the start of the game, while you're still lower leveled, this power cap will limit how fast you can get fully equipped in armor in a big way. So in the early levels, make sure to keep your eye out for equipment that will increase your power cap, like that implant, and while you're leveling up, you also will note that you're giving module points to spend too. You can spend these to allow you to power up your battery energy faster, or swing and evade more with more stamina, or just buff up your health bar. I'd strongly recommend that you focus on health upgrades in a first playthrough in the early levels, but if you are a pro, early levels in battery efficiency can go a long way to help you heal and execute way more. While you're still at that rig station, for number 8, I'd advise you to bank those tech scraps you got there. Tech scraps function like souls or blood echoes, the currency. Build them up by killing and spend them on crafting, leveling, or even shops. These are really important, so you need to look after them. If you die, you'll drop every tech scrap you had on you, and you'll have one chance and a limited time to return to where you died and reclaim what you lost. If you don't make it in time, or you die again before recovering them, all those tech scraps you dropped, they're going to be gone. So you can play it safe by banking those scraps at rig stations. So you've always got some to rely on if you lose yours, or combine the bank scraps with the ones you found in the world to level up or craft. Almost at the end here, we're at number 9. It's all about the new drones. The drones in the Surge 2 are a little bit different around this time, feeling a bit less clunky and invasive, which I really like. You're now able to activate them from your little backpack you got on your back there, and then activate it again to fire whatever weapon you've got equipped. These are limited by ammo that you're going to find around the world or can buy from shops, and any ammo you find while you're capped out will be sent to your rig station bank as well to be pulled out whenever you return to one. These drones are going to come in many different kinds. Later down the line, you'll be able to place a sentry version to control an area. You'll have single shot snipers or burst fire types, which all have different purposes and strengths. So make sure you experiment. They're easy to swap in and out. And finally, for number 10, I've got to let you know that the boss design is a lot more, well, visually interesting, but mechanically interesting compared to the original. Our first boss in the Surge 2 is Little Johnny, this crazy looking 3-legged spider bot thing. Compared to the Surge 1, this design is a lot more interesting than generic mech, but mechanically, it's way more challenging. It has lots of range and variety of attack types, so it's a hard fight to start with. But what's clever about this fight is that it actually gets harder the further you go into the fight. Not a standard 2-phase fight at all. And if you take a look at the health bar here, the UI is something special. Instead of a standard health bar you lower to 0 with any attacks, we have 5 cooling tanks to destroy to overload the mech. And each cooling tank you destroy starts leaking acidic fluid, which suddenly becomes an area you can't stand in and fight anymore. On top of that, that acid then becomes a new attack that Little Johnny starts using against you, doing big poison damage if you're hit by it. I just thought this was way more interesting than the first boss of the original game, a huge jump forward from a standard mech with a couple attacks and a health bar. This fight will actually have you thinking about which cooling tanks you destroy first and making good use of your drone in the fight too. Hell, it might even be worth us making a guide on. For now though, that's my 10 things you need to know about the Surge 2. I hope any of these tips helped you in your own gameplay, and be sure to drop some you might have for me in the comments. Good luck in your playthroughs though. I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I will see you next time.